Some consider it the greatest record of all time. We talked to a Pink Floyd expert about his new book, which looks at every Pink Floyd song and album, but specifically on this one, Dark Side of the Moon with Mike McCormack on Rock History Music. Everything Under the Sun, the complete guide to Pink Floyd, is Mike Cormack's brand new book looking at every song from Pink Floyd and every album. You'll hear stories you've never heard before and interesting explanations on some of the songs that I'd never heard before. There's links in the description to find out more information on the book. Dark Side of the Moon. Why do you think after they did Clouds, like it was like a perfect storm? And I mean, they did it twice.
Yeah.
They did it with The
hmm
Wall as well. But
Yeah.
what do you think all the pieces fell together so
You
well?
say it's a perfect storm. They had mastered actually writing songs by this time. They had, they did Obscured by Clouds in 2 weeks. So they could knock a song out anytime. They could do any different form or style by this time. They could go from folk rock to hard rock, heavy metal, to gentle pastoralisms to they were experimenting with synthesizers. Their range was phenomenal. And finally, they had something clear to write about. They had a topic, So they had songwriting. They were simplifying things rather than expanding and trying to show off. So it's more digestible. They have clear themes, and they could put every song in a style that suited its content. You put all that together with magnificent engineering, and you've got the whole package.
You say that "Speak to Me" demonstrates how they could create a suspense in a song, and that's a word that I don't think is used enough. I always use
Mm.
mood, but there's that sense of
Yes.
there's a lot of suspense in Pink Floyd music. And tell me about that song.
Yeah. So they use the heartbeat drum beat and the with the sinister laughter and I mean, repetition builds suspense. Repetition builds, a desire to go to the next part. You know, so they're using this very cannily, and they've got all these different samples from the songs. The spooky laughter, the voices, the singing from Great Gig, and it builds up, and it's really. I don't want to say intimidating, but there's a huge amount of suspense. You want to know what's coming. It's the grand overture where you're like, come on, let me into this album already. I'm dying for it. Please let me hear what you've got.
Tell me about "Breathe."
Yeah, and they've got this really liquid, what do you call it, the lap guitar, you know, which again is Gilmore mastering yet another instrument, yet another technique. I mean, it's more associated with country music, but they've got this really floating liquid chords that just glide out so smoothly, and it's just beautiful, isn't it? And you've got Waters' lyrics, which he kind of mocks them, says it's like a sixth form basic poetry, but the simplicity is part of the charm.
On the Run, I remember that's the first time someone told me they sent me they had a cassette. My friend John, and he said his first song on the cassette, and I hadn't heard the whole album. He said, "Put the headphones on. That's the headphones
Yeah, yeah,
song."
yeah,
Tell me about
yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
I mean, it's very, very, very clever. Again, you've got this 8 note pattern, which is sped up, and it forms like a V shape and then a U shape. So it goes down and up, then down. You know. And then that's sped up and treated with like your whole kitchen sink of effects. You've got wide stereo panning, you've got all these different samples, you've got Doppler effects, so it's coming nearer and coming farther. You've got the different voices and laughter. You've got Gilmore sliding the microphone leg on his guitar. I think Gilmore said that producing a song like that in those days was as much a live performance because everything was when they were recording it. You had to do it live. There was no uh, digital effects that you could just bring in later. You had to do the whole when you were mixing it. The whole thing had to be done as a performance. So their mastery of all these different musical forms is just so ahead of their time.
You said with time that it's some of Gilmore's finest guitar work.
Yeah, I mean, it's often voted as his best guitar solo. Not my opinion, but yeah, a lot of people love that really soaring guitar solo that he has. I mean, who am I to argue? uh, you compare it to Atom Heart and Mother, which you kind of felt like, well, we'll give Dave like a minute or two for a guitar solo here. He's, oh, okay, then he just kind of noodles about and tries to fill it. Here, he's so focused. He really knows what he's doing. His development as a guitar player is just stunning. If you track it through the early albums to Dark Side.
Claratory, the great Gig in the
Yeah,
Sky, one of the greatest vocal performances of all time.
of all time, absolutely. And good on her for getting that writing credit because she fully deserved it. I guess with a bit like "Gimme Shelter," these singers did not get the credit they deserved. They just but that's kind of what happened. You'd call in a musician or a singer, you get them to play a bit. They had to come up with their part, and then they'd go away. Uh, that's how business was done. But I mean, in terms of uh, vocalizing death or heaven or as or it might be sexual. As I think I say in the book that French for orgasm is the little death. So there's all these things linking together, and it's great that it's wordless because what lyrics could define that? We're talking about the absolute unknowable. So that sense of the ineffable, the unknowable, it really comes through in that song.
Us and Them, you point out the drama of that. Tell me about that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, they move so skillfully between this very quiet, sedate verse, then this intensely dramatic chorus, which as a form, they'd been building up. I think they first used it in Cymbeline, uh, and they've done a few songs like that, obscured by clouds. But here they completely nail it, and the deftness and the way that they move between the two different sections is just it's so dramatic. So the your ears are always pricking up at like something new happening.
Any color you like
Mm.
sort of breaks the tension from the song before.
Yeah, I mean, every album needs a piss break, I guess. I mean, it doesn't add anything to the themes. It's just great textures again by Rick Wright. These things just tickle the ears in such a brilliant way. All these different tones and textures that he gets off his keyboards and organs. It's beautiful, and they suggest all these colors and everything. Wonderful.
Brain Damage, the lunatic is on the grass. I remember the first time I
Yeah.
heard, I remember going, what is he saying? The lunatic is on the grass. I remember my first thought, well, oh, that's good about Sid Barrett, because every time they talk about
Hmm.
because they do touch on
Yeah.
the brain a lot. Tell
Uh-huh.
me about that one.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a pun, isn't it? It's someone who's smoking marijuana, but it could be just someone who's outside and lying back on the hazy sunshine, sitting on the grass. I mean, this is where Roger Waters finally comes forward and ties together all that they've been trying to talk about. And he's giving like summarizing it and conceptualizing it and saying, like we've been through all the stresses and pains of modern life, and now I'm saying that if you find life hard, I'm with you. I have this empathy for everyone, and my heart is with you because life is tough, and it can knock you for six, and look what happened to poor Sid, and guys, we are with you. That's so beautiful, isn't it? A lot of rock criticism and writing, if I can say so, it kind of repeats itself. Things get set and writers just stick to the same stories, and I wanted to really come at it from a fresh perspective as far as possible. I wanted to say things that I had not read in other Pink Floyd books. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to get a book that I wanted to read about Pink Floyd that I didn't find that was out there. Have a book that had this greater like intellectual depth, like you could link it to different writers and like artistic movements that were going on, but just trying to see the music afresh and really focus on what they were trying to do and where they were in their career at that point and what had led them to that point. So that's what I was really trying to do.
My first thought was, oh, this is a thinking man's Pink Floyd book. And I went, no, it isn't. Not only that, it is, but it's multi-layered. I said, I don't think anybody, I mean, the headbangers who love Pink Floyd, who might not
Uh-huh.
read a lot of books, will read this and go, they'll get it. They'll get what you're trying to say, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you want to hit all the bases. It's nice to talk about the poetic techniques, and because I'm trained as an English teacher, I could I noticed that the lyrics for Time were in trochaic tetrameter. I don't think anyone had ever pointed that out before. But not everyone cares about that. So it's about the effect it has on you as the listener and how it hits your heart. And Pink Floyd do that again and again and again.
There's a good closer on Dark Side of the Moon with Eclipse. I always pay attention when there's a concept album. I listen to the first song and I always listen to the closer. Tell me about that tune.
Well, Eclipse is, it's a litany. It's a list like they have in the Bible of all the names. So, but what they do is, they throw the kitchen sink of all the different effects at it, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and the grandeur of it, the magnificence of it is just incredible. This is the first time that I think in recording terms that they, do a 10 out of 10. They just knock the whole thing out of the park, and it leaves you with just such a sense of having been moved and been on this incredible emotional journey. And then it's like, oh my God. And then that final kicker of the heartbeat, that says, we are human. We are all human. Ah, beautiful. I mean, that's poetry. That's art. That's, incredible.
Remember, if you want to support the channel, there's PayPal links at the very top of the description. You can also buy some swag, a t-shirt, a cap, or a jacket with Rock History Music, the beautiful logo that we have right on there. Or join our Patreon. There's hundreds of clips on there that have not been put on YouTube yet, so you get early access to all this stuff. Our Patreon deal is one of the best out there. And of course, remember, subscribe to our channel, click the bell notifications so you don't miss anything. Like our videos, comment on them, and share them on social media. That makes a big difference. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music.